Low lie the fields of Athenry, where once we saw the small free birds fly.
I was born.
Something.
They're late.
Very late, dude. You texting them?
I just texted them. You know what I bet they're doing? I bet they're getting more beer.
Probably. Well, we told them to bring something for St. Patrick's Day.
Right. Which I brought.
Which you're drinking in a Guinness glass, which is hysterical.
But a red ale. So I told you I was going to do that. That's my style. This is interesting. This is going to be fun to drink.
Yeah, that's fun to drink.
But hopefully we'll get here soon.
So you come here often, or?
Twice a month. You should know that.
Yeah. Oh, look who it is.
Hey. What's up?
What's up, boys?
Hey.
Oh my gosh, you literally brought Guinness.
Oh my gosh.
Guys, happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy Patties. How you doing? Welcome to the podcast.
We can start.
That
That
was
is your
yours.
mic.
Yeah.
That is your mic.
Nice.
Just on scooch on back there. Yeah.
Well,
to my
welcome,
favor.
Don't Stop Beerlievers, to the Don't Stop Beerleaving
okay.
podcast.
Yeah, it's all right.
You guys good? You get comfortable?
Got some guests.
I want that corner.
You have three corners.
You'll have that corner and that corner only. He does have three corners. That's right. Shout out to Stupid Fat Hobbits podcast. And well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is our St. Patrick's Day special. We're really glad you're here tuning in with us. A little surprise guests today, Johnny and Pat from the Stupid Fat Hobbits podcast.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, wave to the camera.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Pat. Good to see you. Yeah, but it's great. We got a great show planned. They brought some Guinness for us.
Woohoo.
That's just okay.
You said St. Patty's Day.
Look, we're not here to knock on Guinness. We really, really enjoy Guinness.
Yeah,
but
for
it's
sure.
kind of ironic that our challenge for this week was if you didn't make a homebrew, to go out and find an Irish beer for St. Patrick's Day that wasn't Guinness.
Okay, if you can tell
And the
me
two-
where an Irish craft beer is that we can buy with ease, we would buy it.
With ease.
We could get Harp, I guess.
That's not like Irish craft beer doesn't exist.
Harp and Guinness are the same company.
Well, I think it's about style at that point, right? So you're just going for like the Irish dry stout, which would be like this, or the Irish red ale, which is like this. You're not looking for like a name. You're just working with names, right? You're just a name guy.
We are
So
name
is it-
guys.
I don't know if that's an
name
insult
guy.
or a compliment.
How much revenue did Guinness bring in the other?
I don't know. I mean, I am. Yeah, so
$3 billion.
we should probably explain
That's
where
about
we are on the craft beer scale.
Emotionally? With
Emotionally,
where are you guys?
would you like to start?
Yeah, talk about. Yeah, I want to hear.
on the craft
I
beer
want to hear.
scale.
Yeah, where do you guys fall in your love for craft beer?
Well, we actually brought some of our favorites with us today. If we could share that with you.
Oh, sure, that'd be awesome.
Pat, can you?
I actually.
this doesn't count. This is not.
No,
this
no,
is-
no, no,
no,
no. We brought our own.
our
to,
Oh,
favorite.
you brought other
Yeah.
craft beer.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
we
Okay,
have
so
some other craft
This
beer.
is one of our favorites.
Did you guys homebrew something?
It's new. It's not many people know about it. Not many people have tried
Tasty
it. So
and refreshing.
brace yourselves.
What's the brewery?
We have
You'll see.
from the famous brewery
Oh God!
Oh my god!
Bud Light Seltzer. This is the black cherry variant, as you can see by the
Oh,
can
my
design.
gosh.
Very sleek, very smooth.
Whose idea was it to bring these guys on the
Delicious.
show?
Should I just place this in front of the Guinness?
You see, this is he didn't even bring craft seltzer. He
Oh,
brought big
okay,
beer
all right,
seltzer.
okay, fine. So this,
We have a
this
smaller
might not have been
brand.
craft, okay?
You brought big seltzer.
The big seltzer. I love that. This is a
craft seltzer.
Oh,
Yeah,
White
White
Claw.
Claw.
White Claw.
This is
Ain't no laws.
a smaller independent seltzer brewery. I think that's.
Do they have the
And
stamp?
hints of black cherry.
They don't have the stamp.
Seltzer.
Wait, who owns White Claw? Are they the own thing?
White Claw? They're a craft seltzer brewery.
Stop saying
It's
seltzer
craft.
brewery.
By the way, it's kind of funny that,
that out of my
Pat
house.
doesn't know how to pronounce the word seltzer.
Right, he says seltzer.
It says no T.
Do we drink on the
Pop
show?
off. No, we don't drink on the show at all. At all. No.
Strictly
we
forbidden.
Don't do that.
Why am I here?
It's
Cheers.
super early in the morning, and they're just going at it. Well, it's early for us. It's not
can't-
early
For St. Patrick.
for
can't-
St. Patrick's
For
Day.
Irish.
You can't
yeah.
drink all day if you don't start in the morning.
This is true.
I love that. I love that. Well, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
I
Thank you for having
don't
us.
really want to touch cans with you because
Look,
that's
look. Sometimes you just have to.
Irish
compromise.
coffee is the
Oh
way
wait.
to go.
Okay.
Oh wait. Irish coffee. There
The
you
only
go.
way to go.
See,
this
we
early
have
in the morning.
we have the whole lineup here for what you guys probably should be drinking during the day for St. Patrick's Day. Actually, we got like kind of the life cycle. You start off with an Irish coffee, you move on to beer, and then once you get weak and
Old.
it's
frail.
sick and just disgusting, you get into the seltzers.
If I may, before we dive into the full-fledged episode here, I would like to give a brief description of how Johnny and Pat work as human beings. So these two people used to be avid beer drinkers and have since gone to the dark side of seltzers. And
Yes.
they almost exclusively drink seltzer now. And it's a shame. So we've actually brought them on as specimens to interview and find out what
That's
what kind of
funny.
what went wrong up in their brains, in their inner workings of their minds that caused them to go down this deep path of destruction.
So this is an intervention.
Well, I would like to give each
you
of
put
you
intervention right
each of
there?
you three sentences. You have 3 sentences to defend why you drink seltzer. Johnny, go ahead.
Delicious.
It's not a sentence.
You're not a sentence.
You're not a sentence.
Listen, they are very, very tasty, in my opinion.
That's not a
One sentence.
Way less calories.
phrase.
Also not a sentence.
Phrase. It's okay. It's fine.
Oh my
we
God.
understand what we're doing here.
They have
Yeah.
way less calories.
cool.
And I personally enjoy them very, very much.
And that's fine.
Okay.
And we definitely cherish people's own preferences on the show.
We do.
But yeah, go ahead, Pat.
It's not clear to me that you do cherish other people's differences. You guys all talk about how
Feel
craft
attacked.
beer is, inclusive and you want people to join, and then you trash us for bringing craft seltzer into your home. That is the definition of exclusive and judgmental.
We're saying craft beer is a
This
great
is Bud
way
Light
to,
Seltzer.
Oh, we're
Sponsored by Bud Light. Big
It's
beer.
interesting. You went for the Bud Light, even though you brought in the craft White Claw. I can't even. I'm saying that right now.
I do appreciate craft beer. I think, you can find some very, very interesting stuff.
Good.
But I think, big beer is where it's at. And I don't think you can convince me otherwise. Like how much revenue did that beer bring in? I don't know.
0. This is a homebrew.
When I see this, not only is it alcohol, not only is it pleasant to drink, I think of money.
While you're drinking it, you're just like,
And that makes me happy.
okay. Well, that's a fair assessment, I guess, of why
So
we've
that's where I'm coming
deviated from the good path.
Well, you watching out there, let us know if you're seltzer drinkers or whether you're craft beer loyalists. We would love to know your opinion. This is a topic that we actually wanted to get into at some point, which maybe we can do today. Who knows, depending on time. But basically, how is the seltzer game impacting the craft beer scene? We've touched on this a little bit, but so as you can see, it's St. Patrick's Day special. We have a little bit of Irish get up. To be honest with you, didn't really have much green. But Mikey's pulling in the green for us, and it looks like we're all rocking blue. So happy St. Patrick's Day. Johnny's got some green glasses on.
There we go.
I came
Yeah.
prepared.
You
Slightly.
get it right.
Now, Pat, you were telling me earlier that there is some blue connections with Ireland, huh?
I doth protest.
Talk to us about that. What exactly is the connection to the color blue in Ireland, and how are we being more Irish than Mikey and his Americanized
exactly.
get up?
thank you.
Some people argue.
Who did you just gesture to?
I don't. The camera. It's so weird to talk to a
people.
block of nothingness. But some people argue that blue is the true color of St. Patrick,
Never heard of that.
going back to old Irish mythology. And then the other argument is blue was the color of Ireland bestowed on them by the English monarchy, which is so green became the color of rebellion and Irish sovereignty, which would explain why it's more popular now. Of course. Also, green is, I would argue, just a better color.
It's a fun.
Yeah. Like blue's just everyday, kind of average.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
average.
Yeah.
I would imagine when
I'm a humble guy.
your average Joe over here.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine though, like especially once Americans got a handle of the St. Patrick's Day tradition, or not even tradition, just like festival.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to like party and do all of that American stuff. So I think the Irish like kind of lean into it and like we're here's a shamrock, green is like our color, and we're able to sell a lot of themed things for St. Patrick's Day or something. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Pretty green country too.
It's a
Beautiful
pretty green,
landscape.
yeah.
I mean, it's gorgeous. Everyone loves Ireland. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to find somebody that's gonna like.
No one hates
No one-
Ireland.
yeah. No, I don't think I've ran into a person that just like mentioned Ireland. They're like, oh yeah.
Those Irish. Well, maybe the English. I don't know. Well, here we are rocking our Royal Irish Blue,
exactly.
and Mikey's
I've
repping
moved
the
on.
American.
I'm
It's
not-
kind of funny. The Filipino American guy is wearing the classic
Yeah.
bright green getup with a clearly like dollar store Irish hat that says the word
Hey.
Ireland on the top.
Yeah, there you go, guys.
So, yeah, but
I've embraced the entire American tradition of celebrating Irish traditions.
right. So, what are you guys doing for St. Patrick's Day? Obviously, going down to Richmond or
Yeah, I'm probably doing that. Shamrock the Block.
Shamrock the Block.
Big bar crawl
Sounds
down
fun.
there.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so probably doing that. But
There you go.
Hopefully, you can hit some good craft Irish breweries.
I might just stick to Jameson that day. But
I don't think there are any Irish craft breweries in
They're,
America.
specifically Irish.
It's like not
craft-
even like a. I don't think that's allowed.
It's like-
The craft beer industry probably takes a huge hit on St. Patty's Day.
you think so?
yeah,
I don't
think
know.
so,
They,
yeah.
people want to drink Guinness. They want to drink
But
that
that's
stuff.
not craft beer.
That's
That's
what I'm
not
saying.
craft
You
beer.
can't get
Yeah,
that at
okay.
like a craft
That's-
brewery.
Jameson, Car Bombs, Two of them were due.
I think. I mean, I don't think it's a hit. I think that because people are drinking in general. So a lot of people might go into breweries that day to like start off. I've had that.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I've had that happen. Like the morning shift at the Manor Hill Brewery I work at. Like a lot of people come in early and then like we're their first stop because we open at 11, so that helps them,
Yeah.
which is good. But we're gonna be celebrating.
Yes, we're going to Guinness.
Yeah.
So, what do you know?
So everything you just said.
You're really
welcome
sorry
for bringing
about
that
that.
up.
No, but Guinness Open Gate Brewery. We've talked about that before. We've been up there actually last 2 years for St. Patrick's Day. Or was it just last year?
It was just
for
last
the first
year.
time.
Yeah.
And they have a really great day full of Irish beer and Irish music, and their whole lawn and kind of grounds is open
Yeah,
up.
I've never
and-
been, and I'm sure it's gonna be a beautiful weekend. It's just a nice time to be outside and drink, really, beer from Ireland. Because the draft can only be brewed at the
in St. James, yeah.
St. James.
So even the stuff there is the
you go.
same.
Know that.
You know that?
It's
Yeah.
the same as the Guinness you're gonna buy at pretty much any bar probably because they're still shipping it in.
Yeah.
But you will have Guinness Blonde Lager that's
Yeah.
brewed on premises.
Blonde
That's
ale.
actually their brewery for I think the entire distribution of the states
Yeah.
for American Blonde
That
Lager.
is their main distribution
And they
now.
also have a test brewery there, which is really really cool, and you can do a tour and kind of see what kind of beers they're working on. But
So they don't brew that beer there.
no, they
Yeah,
do
they can
not
only
brew
brew
Guinness
it
at the
in
Open Gate
Ireland.
Brewery.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know that.
I really like that. That's
Yeah.
like hardcore.
When I heard that,
that's
it made me
cool.
feel a
Cool,
lot
yeah.
better about Guinness coming over here because there were obviously some initial
Yeah.
but they've done well to fit in with the community, and they've really kind of catered to the people there, and they've
Yeah.
not just come in there and been like, we're Guinness, we're just gonna crush everybody.
Right.
We were all worried about
They
that.
do a lot of
but-
collaborations with local breweries, so that's really cool, and you can get that stuff on tap. And then we mentioned this before on the podcast. They have a lot of draft Irish beers that Guinness has in Ireland that you can't get in the States. So like Kilkenny, I think is the one that it's
Okay.
called, right? Is it
Oh,
Kilkenny?
you've had this. Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it. I think it's
that's what it
Kilkenny,
is.
but it's a great, it's a nitro beer as well, similar to Guinness, but it's a lot smoother. So let us know what you guys are doing for St. Patrick's Day.
If you
and
guys are at Guinness
Yes.
and you see us, come say hi.
come say hi.
If you're at Smuggler's Notch in Vermont, you're skiing for St. Patty's Day.
Or in
Come
Richmond.
see me.
Is that what you're doing for St. Patrick's Day? You're going skiing. Okay, lovely.
That's for the least Irish thing I've ever
Okay,
heard.
look, this might be kind of boastful and greedy, but
Oh boy.
if you're of Irish heritage, and of course the Irish will tell you like that doesn't matter at all, you're not Irish. But if you're
Right,
of Irish
yeah.
heritage and your name is literally Patrick, I feel like you get a free pass. Like you don't have to do all like the This mic's annoying. You don't have to do all the like stereotypical St. Patty's Day stuff.
You can do whatever you want to do.
I mean, I don't actually even know what the Irish do on St. Patrick's Day. Do they?
They don't really do anything.
I heard. So one of my coworkers is Irish, and she said it's like a family holiday. Like everyone, like if you live in Dublin, you leave, and all the international people come in and get trashed. And then they go out to the country and hang out with their family.
Wasn't it actually that they didn't even serve alcohol?
They would, yeah. It was banned.
It was banned on St. Patrick's Day.
So
no
they wouldn't
bars were
drink
allowed
it.
to.
Nope.
They actually didn't drink on
They
St.
couldn't
Patrick's
buy
Day.
or sell
Up until I
any
think
alcohol.
last year or 2 years ago, that changed.
Yeah.
What? Wait.
Yeah, now
So
they
what
I think
would
it's
they
after
do?
a certain time of the day though. It's like after like 1 p.m. or something.
Wait, like so that people
Something.
stay home and just like hang out.
I'm trying to
with
think
family,
like
or
what's
what?
like
Yeah,
is there
it's
like
like a Saints Day.
is there like an American
go to
family
mass
holiday
and
that
hang
would
out
be
with the
similar?
You still drink. You're just not going to the bar.
Most would not drink at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that at all. I didn't know that.
It's wild.
Well, fact check us, everybody, because there's probably some.
Yeah. If you're Irish, like really Irish, let us know what you guys do on St. Patrick's Day. If you go skiing or
Patrick Pacious.
Like it. Look,
Skiing away.
well, wear green or someone's gonna punch you.
I thought it was pinch you.
I think it's
Just get
kill.
socked in the face.
Can you imagine you get down to the bottom of the hill, you're like, ooh, I nailed that black diamond. Someone just runs up to you and socks you.
I would love to see that. I hope that
I'm gonna pay someone to just run up to you in Vermont. You're like, why did that guy put Michael?
Just some guy hunting me the entire trip.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we mentioned this at the beginning of the show here, but obviously this is the St. Patrick's Day special. So let us know what Irish beer you went out and found for this glorious occasion. And if you're a home brewer, send us what you made. What did you brew? What kind of Irish beer did you brew? And so, Michael, with that, talk about what you're drinking.
Yeah, so I'm actually drinking an Irish red ale. I told you guys that I more lean towards this direction when I'm drinking on St. Patty's because it's just, for me, a lot more friendly to drink all day. And this style is basically what you're going to think about when you're just thinking beer. It's a nice dark amber color, but it's also, a nice sweet caramel-like aroma and flavor, and the hop bitterness is very much on the back burner. And if I'm using any of these, and
This is just fantastic.
and what's really nice is that it has a nice dry roast at the end, which helps accentuate any of the hops that you might get, like the English hops or the Irish hops. But honestly, this is more of a malt-driven beer. I love this one. This was homebrewed by my friend Dan Hernandez. We've already talked about him once before. He's been homebrewing like a
Shout out to
fiend.
Dan, yep.
And this is
Hey,
very
Dan.
much.
Hi, Dan.
Okay. This is
Dan.
very much in style. It's just a beautiful, beautiful aroma to it. The color is a nice. Well, it's a little bit more like a toasted biscuit than there's not really much red amber
Toasted
there, but
biscuit. I really like that term.
there's a lot.
that term.
You can have a lot of fun with
Can
descriptors.
I ask
of
a
beer.
question real fast?
Yeah.
Because I actually don't know this.
Okay.
What makes the beer red? Why is it a red ale? What ingredient makes it red? Because I have no idea.
It depends. So, like, homebrewers can get a lot more intricate with the details, but usually you're going to use what's called Cara Red or a Munich Cara Munich malt, which has like a red tinge to it once it's steeped. But if you're doing something that's really crazy, like what I do, I use like beets. I like boil some water, put in some beets, and like let that blood red color come out. It really depends on what you're trying to make.
So it's not turmeric or cinnamon.
No, because turmeric is very powerfully, and cinnamon is also very strong.
I use straight cayenne pepper in my beers.
But craft beer, I guess not even craft beer. It's just beer's weird. Like the average person doesn't actually know what's in what they're drinking. I would say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So you don't know why it's the way it is. You just know it tastes good and
Why are
makes
you
you feel good inside.
the way you are.
Well, it's one thing I really love about the craft beer scene is that for the first time we're kind of actually challenging people to figure out what they're drinking more because so often you're right, people have now oversimplified beer to lager, IPA, stout. Sure. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
great. We've just created these enormous qualifiers for beer, and the categories are now like you can count them on one hand. And so craft beers kind of come in and said, all right, cool. Yeah, we have 17 IPAs on tap. Good luck. Let's go figure out what exactly it is about each of these beers that you like, and then we can tell you exactly what's in it. And that's freaking awesome. It's actually people are now able to go to a brewery that they haven't been to before and read a menu and pick out something they want to drink.
Yeah, and some of I don't know about every brewery I go to, but at Manor Hill we're taught each the basics of what each beer has inside of it and how it got to be the color, or how it got to be the strength, or how it got to be, the flavor profile of where it is. So I think that's a really good opportunity for brewers to teach the people about this is why, first of all, a lot of people, we sell certain beers that are a little more expensive, and they're like, why is this more expensive? It's like, well, this is why we have to get fresh fruit from here, or this is a certain alcohol content, we have to make it more expensive so it's less desirable to purchase all the time. All those types of things that go into the mathematics and the supply chain of it all that we can teach the consumer.
Yeah. As well, I was thinking about this as you were describing that. I think also in a very pure way, in a very good way for beer, right? You have the history of beer kind of being about this almost like innocent process, right? Where you have very basic ingredients, like the German beer rule or whatever, where it's four things. Four things make this beer. And that became kind of like a desirable trait to your beer when you could say, yeah, it's just, barley, hops, what are the four?
Water.
Help me out. Water.
That's
and
always
then something else.
And then they added in yeast later on, because they didn't know yeast yet, and then now they do.
They're like, that's what does
now
this.
they're good friends.
Don't some beers have rice in them?
Yeah. So actually, most of the
Bud
lagers,
Light is as rice.
yeah.
It's
So
not craft, but
because what you can do with that is just increase the volume you can put out.
Okay.
And it's super cheap,
Yeah.
right? And it's kind of, well, that's not flavorless. You can definitely taste rice. But
Pat knows all about rice. It's all he eats. He just makes rice and beans every night for dinner.
no, just rice.
Pat's like,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's what feeds the intellectual's brain.
Look, this is an unprecedented moment in the history of beer and the industry of beer. You have two big beer people coming to sit and have a rational conversation with two small beer, craft beer people.
while drinking seltzers.
Honestly, this is a lot more tame than I thought it would be when I invited you guys on the show.
Yeah, they're like, they have their seltzer, and they're like, yeah, I'm super open-minded.
We brought
I thought we were going to be
You
in
did
fisticuffs
bring
already,
Guinness,
though.
yeah.
Actually, speaking of that, let me just...
Yeah, I'm waiting
pop
for
one of
someone
those
to open one of those for me.
Papa, that
I'm
was good.
drinking out of a Guinness glass. I had to be
You are.
drinking Guinness.
You are.
As craft beer enthusiasts, do you?
I'm on the very edge of that statement, but sure.
Sure.
You're still an enthusiast.
I'm an enthusiast, but I've never proclaimed to be somebody that
You would
knows
say
a ton
you're
about
a
craft beer.
moderate enthusiast.
Well, I'm just kind of tipping my toes in right now. I'm kind of,
Like
the water's still a little cold, but I'm starting to dive.
Are you guys against chugging craft beers? So say Irish carb bombs.
Oh, we're doing this.
Well, that's not a
You-
craft
you-
anything.
yeah.
All right.
I guess it's a craft cocktail if you want to.
So
Technically.
let's just go to that first part of that question and leave the carb bomb out of it for a second.
Chugging beers in general.
Chugging craft beer.
Chugging craft beer.
I had someone come in, and I won't mention who it is. Come
To
in
Manor Hill?
and yes, to Manor Hill, and ordered our Pilsner, and he had one or two sips, and he was like, "Hey, don't want you to pour this one out, but it's kind of boring to me." And it's mostly because he's more on the IPA side of things. And yes, a Pilsner's definitely going to be very boring to you if you're more of an IPA guy.
boring? Boring? It's
boring?
beer.
We're talking about flavor profile.
But
So
tried to give
he
it-
bought a glass of this and then
Yes.
was like, I don't like it.
So, yes. So what he did, instead of having me take it back,
give
is
me
he just
give me something with more pizzazz. Sorry,
Spice
I'm
it up.
sorry.
no, that's funny. And I just come up with cayenne peppers, turmeric. No, but so he just chugs it, and I was like, okay, you paid for it, you didn't waste it, can't be mad at you.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
And honestly, you already had your taste, and you realized you didn't like it, so you're just trying to get it over with. I'm fine with that.
It's funny because I think before you finish that story, there might have been a indication that the ending to that, might have been what people don't like about craft beer drinkers or the stereotype associated with it, right? I think in a lot of people's heads, the ending of that story goes, oh, I don't like this, take it away. Like, I'm not going to finish that, right? Like, I'm not going to, but he actually was like, no, like, let me just throw it back and like get what I actually enjoy.
Why even mention that he didn't like it then? Why not just chug it, don't say anything, order something else?
Well, because he knows
for the tender.
me.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to be rude.
Yeah, he wanted to be like, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because he knows me, so he comes in every once in a while, so he's like,
also,
I'm not just drowning
at
in
the
this beer.
breweries, right? A lot of these, Manor Hill, I think, does a great job about this. They're really into the experience you're having while you're sitting there at the bar, and they want to talk to you about what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, so they can make recommendations to your palate.
So, can I say something about that? Like the fact that a lot of these breweries have invested heavily in like teaching and marketing has been incredible, because when it was first like building up, it was very intimidating to walk into a brewery and just be like, there are 39 taps here. No idea what any of them are. There's like a huge chalkboard.
Yeah.
I can barely read that. Yeah. I don't like certain beers. I do like some. And there's one bartender. And I was like,
you don't want to stop them
to
to like ask about the beer. What I don't like right now about the craft beer scene is that a lot of breweries, and I'm sure there's a marketing aspect to this, but a lot of breweries with that chalkboard, and they have very adventurous names, like, we just had one, Gondor Culture Haze. Fantastic beer. Yes. Tells me nothing about it. And so if they didn't have any type of description, I just walk up and I'm like, well, that's a fun name. I don't know what I'm ordering at all.
Yeah.
So a lot, like, what I really appreciate is when a brewery has an actual like handheld menu where they go a little bit more into depth, like just a 1 or 2 line thing where they're saying what's going into it, so I know which kind, or just at least the style, so I know not to get it, or to get it because I actually like that style. Because there's a lot of breweries that you walk in and it's just that chalkboard and you're like, well, now I have to stop the bartender or the beer tender and say, hey, can you explain what this beer is, or can you recommend me anything? I'm more of an IPA drinker. And they're like, oh, well, it's like 1, 4, and 5. You would like, and I was like, how else would I know unless I stopped the one bartender? And you kind of feel like guilty to do so.
It's a really good point. I think a lot of the good things about craft beer in regard to the design aspect and the culture and the cans being all in the names and stuff also has a consequence of making it a little confusing for the average drinker. So that's a good observation. I actually haven't thought about that, but you're right. I do walk into breweries a lot and I go, I have no idea. I have no idea because even have like crazy artwork on the chalkboard. So it's like the name's in there somewhere and you're like,
sure. I never know what to order when I walk in.
They've got their seasonal stuff and like their like 1 week releases and it's just kind of, you really have to know your stuff.
Manor Hill does it well. They have a great menu as well as the bar chalkboard. So you can kind of, there's one, and then you can kind of read it off. And
and compare. Also if you really have a question, we will stop what we're doing and answer that question about the beer. We don't feel bad about it. I have had experiences though where it is just like 1 or 2 people and it's busy and you just don't want to do that to that person. And actually, a lot of breweries don't train their staff sometimes well enough for them to know. So
right,
it's something that I think we can work on in craft beer. That's but yeah.
Yeah,
I have a question that sort of builds off this about
real
the
quick
welcoming.
though. You've both done this like I think 3 times. You don't have to be like, I have a question.
I feel like okay. Look, you guys.
Man, it's your podcast.
We don't want to step on any toes. Also, I don't know if this was intentional or not, but the craft beer people are sitting higher than us in order to show this display of dominance. That they are better.
I'm honored that I even have a pedestal. I feel like I've been promoted in some kind of way.
It's ridiculous.
It's funny too because if you guys listen real quick, plug for SFH Podcast, a fantastic comedy podcast. That is the voices of Johnny, Pat, and Chris. If you guys listen to that podcast, you know that Pat is the intellectual and sits lower than everyone else in general.
That's true.
I guess
he's always lower than everybody.
Pump everyone else up. So this should
if you want to understand humanity, you start from the ground up and move.
And
I hate you so much.
All right, this is their show, okay? You can't just get into that.
Well, you guys can give a little plug if you want for SFH.
Also, one quick thing again.
Like their own
I love
take.
how you throw your grouped together, and I'm shoved over a corner
That's
far
the
away
clearest
from you.
indication.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to make something out of nothing here. It's a couch. You're on two
Yeah.
sides of a
There's-
couch.
there's
I think it's
nothing
a
there.
metaphor because
nothing there.
eventually in
He wants
what-
to be the outcast.
in 9 years or so,
He's the
this is
martyr.
about what it's going to be because you're going to pass. So, it's a metaphor. It's a visual metaphor.
It's so much realer when it's recorded on video.
or for some weird
Almost put that
reason
out,
because
but yes,
they
that is true. Thank
or
you.
for some weird reason because they changed the seltzers, like they actually like live longer, and Mikey and I die
The elixir.
from the
Oh,
craft
if
beer.
I have to
know.
die by
You
craft
never
beer,
know.
that's fine with me.
I never got to give my stump speech about seltzer. Johnny,
give a
his.
stump
Oh, please.
Okay, so number one.
You did actually give a few sentences, but it's all right.
No, my
Oh, the 3 sentences.
You gave that.
You never gave
but
it.
no,
No, I
I,
didn't.
no, I was talking about something else. Anyway,
Okay, 3.
number one. It's not really number one. It's just the first thing that came into my head. It's healthier,
Okay.
True.
which might bother the hipster part of you.
No,
Actually, it
that's
shouldn't
totally
bother
fine.
them.
I mean, the caloric content in a home brew
Yeah.
can go up to 600 calories a beer. It's insane.
Whoa.
I've brewed one that
Did
big.
they-
Not
is
this
that
good.
one called the Big Mac?
This is the Guinness. It's the McChick. It's the McDouble, actually.
No, it's the McBeer.
The McBeer.
The McBeer. I like that.
There you go. All right, and 2 and 3. Are you?
The Saint Patty. Like McDonald's.
Saint
Sorry,
Patty.
that was dumb. Okay.
no, I like that. That was
the
good.
second
That was good.
thing I would like to say is it's not really about seltzer itself, but it's like go on the journey of enlightenment and just open your mind and try it. It's actually good. Yeah, it doesn't have the creative
Do you
background.
have one to
but-
share? I'll try one on the
I-
camera.
I
No,
only
don't
brought
do
one
it.
for myself.
Don't do it,
I
Mike.
think we have.
I mean,
one
we
or
could
two.
we could rummage around, maybe check in the back room,
Do you want to grab me one?
All right.
Grab me one.
You like? Of course, I have to go. Of course.
Play next to you.
I'll do a
Relegated.
live. I'll do a live for you guys.
Chris, would you like a craft
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Thank
not.
you for staying true.
Somebody's got to stay true here.
But we're gonna
it's
do
ironic
a live.
it's going to be me. but-
If we're gonna be partying all day for Guinness, I'm gonna show you guys, or for Guinness, for
Guinness-
St.
for
Patrick's
Guinness.
Day, for St. Patrick's Day. Do you want to be drinking all day this, or all day that? I mean, honestly,
These guys.
Back to beer psychology for a second, though. Wouldn't you think you're going to enjoy St. Patrick's Day more if you're drinking Irish beer? Like,
it's huge.
come on, you're not going to be feeling like you're immersed in the culture at all.
What is this flavor? Oh, there we go. See, this is thank you. Oh gosh. Well, look at that. So so if you guys never had it yet, Bud Light Seltzer, they came out with this line only a couple months ago.
Super
It's
Bowl,
very
I think,
recent.
Right?
So
Yeah,
yeah, we
Super
talked
Bowl?
about that. Yeah. 5% alcohol content, 100 calories. That's pretty hard to beat.
Read
100
some-
calories, man.
That's like a
that's-
Mickey
that's
Ultra right
great.
there.
Like,
That's
could you read some of the, the notes on
Ingredients?
there? What do they want you to go for? What do they want you to taste when you drink that?
light, simple lemon lime. That's it.
That's good. That's incredible marketing.
Straight to the
Yeah.
point. You know where you're going to
Yeah.
get.
Which
that-
I think craft beer breweries need to get better at. They want to go on these long explanations,
Yeah.
which if you're really appreciative and really want to get into it, that's fun. But they need to get better at like those one-liners. Like
the
that.
crack.
That
Very
is
That's
the
a good one.
crack.
So,
good crack.
That's a good
what
crack.
kind of
it's good crack, Johnny. That's Irish. Good for him.
Crack?
Yeah.
What?
You don't know about the crack?
Crack is that? I'm not having this conversation. What were you saying?
Yeah, it's.
I was going to say,
literally-
what are the?
you guys know.
What kind of seltzer hops are they using?
I don't like that you guys are being sarcastic
Sparkling
about
water.
this. Can I make my third point about seltzer?
Oh, shit.
That was three fingers.
Real quickly before he tastes this.
Yes, please.
I don't like. I love craft beer. I love seltzer. I don't care. Drink
Do what you want.
Yeah.
drink what you enjoy.
We have a similar opinion.
However, yeah, like it's a people might crap on you for that, and that's fine. Like
And that's fine.
deal with it.
Honestly, though, and we've said this, I think last episode, it's what you like. No one can tell you what you like. Though for things like St. Patrick's Day, I still can't get on board with drinking seltzer over Irish beer.
I do.
But-
Okay, I feel a little slimy about doing that.
I agree with you on that point. On that one day out of the year, yes.
Well, that could.
Oh, he likes it. He likes it.
What a reaction.
It's
at
very
that.
nice. It's
So
it's light. It's simple. It's lemon lime.
give me some tasting notes.
Would you say that was as powerful as St. Patrick kicking the snakes out of Ireland?
What?
That's a yes. That's a yes.
So, okay. I see the pull for seltzer. This is actually very, very easy. I can't even. This is like drinking literal just seltzer water.
Have you never had seltzer before?
Well, I've had White Claw.
What did you just say?
Seltzer. You did say seltzer.
Seltzer.
We all heard seltzer.
Well, it's better than Pat saying seltzer.
Seltzer.
It's
Everyone
it's
put in the
a
comments
linguistical
below
thing.
how you pronounce seltzer because
Yeah.
that's how it's spelled.
I'm curious.
Yes,
yeah,
pronounce
do
it
that.
in the comments.
Pronounce it in the comments.
Send a
Record a
voice-
video of you
That'll,
saying
that'll work.
just a 1 second blurb. Anyways, I see the pull for it. It's actually very refreshing. I like the high carbonation on this. The lemon lime flavor, I would go for this flavor over anything else. I'm not usually a black cherry fan, so this is actually very nice. I feel like I'm drinking a sugar-free Sprite right now.
Can we talk about one thing real quick?
Also, just welcome to the Don't Stop Seltzering podcast.
Oh God, no! Why is Johnny wearing sunglasses right now?
That's a
It's the
good
only thing I had
question.
that was green.
I thought he was being pretentious. And
I didn't even realize.
whatever. But these, studio lights you have,
Oh, that's natural.
they kind of hurt.
That's the window.
That's natural light.
Pat, the yellow one's the sun.
Yeah, the natural
yellow
light
one's
is
the
soft and warming and welcoming. I don't know how to say words. These lights they?
We're working on descriptors, beer descriptors.
Yeah,
so
it's
give us some
hard.
light
Did you-
descriptors.
Okay, wait
Pretty
a second.
hoppy.
I completely
So-
forgot I had those.
Talking about eye glare, they're gonna be.
We'll say it.
terrible.
We'll
no
say
one's
it.
gonna see anything.
We'll say it on the show now, or at least I'll say it on the show. I'm not necessarily associating, you with this, but okay.
Okay, you gotta get on
Okay.
board.
We converted
it's-
one
But not
of
for
them.
St. Patrick's Day.
But that's the value you guys provide. Is you're not on anyone's side. You're just trying to objectively
Yes.
'Cause
explore,
no one's on my side.
appreciate. That's fair. I don't know why
Are you
anyone
wearing
would be on
Prada
your
glasses?
side.
What are they-
I don't know what.
Very
Honestly,
designer.
these are very dark too. I just can't. I can't find a common. What do you just talk about something?
How about this, Pat? You just mentioned the driving of snakes from Ireland.
Yeah.
You guys want to explain the history of St. Patrick's Day
Oh,
for
that's
us?
right, Johnny. You had a story you wanted to share, and I can fill in the gaps if you'd
It's
like.
not my story. It's St. Patrick's story.
It's history.
Good. I
it's
just
written
want
down.
to applaud
It's
you
written
for not taking credit for that, like a lot of people do these days.
What?
It's just acting like they came up with the story.
I don't think
you know?
anyone takes credit for taking St. Patrick's story. We would immediately call that one out.
Yeah, I had a friend back in Ireland.
But this is actually my story, so don't even think about him.
Well, take us away,
Yeah.
Johnny.
The history of
So,
St. Patrick's Day brought to you by
Johnny's Corner.
Yeah, little Johnny's Corner.
Johnny's Corner.
St. Patrick was a Roman citizen who was captured by pirates, actually.
Wait, what year are we in right now?
Oh, he actually knows this. Okay, go ahead. Continue.
I don't know the exact year.
But like Roman,
It was
like
late Roman Empire. I think.
Yes.
So 400.
400, maybe 350.
We do have.
AD.
Can I just check my phone?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
fact check while
I'll
you continue.
fact
I just didn't know if I was gonna be
check.
like 1600 or
So I'll
something.
fill
I was
in.
like,
I'll
No.
fill in.
Okay, everybody calm down. Let him finish the story. We've gotten 2 sentences.
this is how
He
Stupid
was
Fat Hobbits
sold.
works, though.
He was sold by the pirates as a slave. To Ireland. He was taken there.
to Ireland.
He was taken to Ireland as a slave. He ended up escaping years later. Went back to Rome, became a priest.
Yeah, 4th century. You're right. 4th century.
Good for you.
Or, sorry, 5th century, 400s. You're right.
Wow.
Yeah.
He then became a missionary and went back to Ireland to convert the Irish to Catholicism.
Did he specifically choose Ireland, do you think?
I think he did, actually.
That's interesting.
After living there for so many years
As a slave.
as a slave,
Yeah.
he wanted to go back and actually convert them, which he did. Because Ireland is predominantly Catholic now and Protestant, but very much Catholic. And then he became bishop. And then he did drive the snakes out of Ireland.
So explain that story to me. Oh, what's that
I
about?
feel like I heard something that wasn't true.
Wasn't there like
It's a myth. It's not real.
It is. It's not. Yeah,
There
no
were
one knows if
never
it's-
any snakes in Ireland.
Yes.
and like the Shamrock thing? What's that about?
That's real.
So the shamrock. I mean that signifies the Holy Trinity. The three leaves.
But was that
Did he
his
use-
thing?
Did he use
that?
it as like a
Or is that already a thing?
evangelism tool or something?
No, that was his. That's like
That's
his
his?
thing.
Yeah, I think that's what he used it for.
Okay.
Because the idea of the Trinity is like very out there, and it's something incredibly tangible.
Yeah.
And
Physical
it was
representation
yeah,
of
exactly.
3 in 1.
Exactly.
1.
What do they
That's
call that?
3.
A visible representation of an unseen reality.
That's pretty deep.
So-
What I was thinking was, what if he just like accidentally picked a 4-leaf clover?
He's like,
He
see
got
the holy
really lucky.
Oh God!
Just like really lucky. Yeah.
And there's a whole segment of Protestants that are like, it's the holy quadrant.
That would be funny. That would be great. Well, thank you so much for that. That's,
But yeah, I mean, I'm,
so
I'm
why
not,
do we
I'm not,
celebrate
I don't,
this way?
historian at all, but that's what
But why do we celebrate
What I
by
think.
drinking and partying and?
because we're Americans and we over celebrate everything.
Well, I think that is just based upon our like the stereotype of Irish people drinking a ton, which they do. But
Apparently not on
Americans
St. Patrick's
just-
Day though. So that one
No,
baffles
they
me.
they do now. They do. Everybody was like cheering about it in Ireland when that happened.
But that was only like 2 years ago.
Yeah, but even so, like I guarantee you, people have been drinking on St. Patrick's Day in Ireland for a long time.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
right.
I didn't-
It was
I
just
didn't-
like a law, but you couldn't serve in bars. But I think
Laws are meant to be broken.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws.
Oh, there it is. There
that was
it
my
is.
fault. I
Plus.
set him up for that. Are you okay? You look like you're in pain.
I just thought we had reached a certain level of
am I holding
intellectuality, and then that
Oh, right.
that happened.
You had to pop
What
the
I-
bubble there.
I ruined it?
Yes.
Okay.
You had to pop the bubble.
What's the rule about bathroom breaks when you're recording?
They don't exist.
Because sometimes
What? What? Stop gesturing towards the camera.
you have to go to the bathroom.
Well, how about
That's-
this?
We'll be right back after this short message. Welcome back, everyone. We're back from our short break. Pat has successfully used the St. Patrick toilet.
I did. Yes. And it was, it's like going to the bathroom, just a normal thing.
So while you were in there, you screamed that you had a question you wanted to ask on the show.
I did. I screamed
Talk
from the
to
bathroom.
us.
I have a question. So I'm not a huge IPA guy. Ensue the roast.
I'm ready for
YouTube
this.
comments. Hey, man, you're gonna know real beer. Okay, sorry. That's just the reaction I get
No,
sometimes.
not from us.
When you go into a brewery,
Yep.
Why did you
The
say it that way?
anticipation.
is this okay?
It's a little low. It's all right. They're not gonna,
They'll notice.
Yeah, but they won't. They won't
Did you
hold it
guys
against
notice?
You. Just twist it a
No.
little.
Put it in the
Okay.
comments
Yeah.
if you noticed.
My question
so
was,
many comments.
as like a bigger lager guy,
Oh, okay.
breweries are not like craft beer has not always been.
Friendly to that.
Yeah, it's
A couple
it's-
reasons for that.
So I do like the hazy IPAs, despite that becoming just like a trend that
Staple.
everyone is abusing
Yeah.
right now.
Basically.
But
What's the question exactly?
I just wanted to vent a little bit. No, it's
So-
good. I've been noticing that a lot of breweries are pushing more lagers. Like they're getting more creative with lagers and other
Yes.
types of non-IPA beer.
So we talked a little bit about this. We're so that is something that we meaning, craft breweries.
The entire craft beer industry.
I'm speaking for the
All of
industry
them.
here, guys. No, it's just we realize that we like have a lot more fun churning out IPAs or playing around with like the malt forward things like German beers or something. But we also realize that not everyone wants to come out to the brewery and drink that. And so like what Manor Hill did was come out with a Pilsner or come out with like a craft something that's a little bit more approachable. So we don't only have the Pilsner, we also have like the Grisette, which is double dry hopped version, is like kind of drinks like a white wine, because that way you can have people come over here and not necessarily want to have like a very beery beer, and we're I'm hoping that a lot of other places are going to start doing that, is like helping inch the regularly lager focused people to come to craft beer by doing lagers, by doing pilsners, by doing
Yeah.
yeah.
And two things as well. Obviously, I think we need to think about this from the perspective of the market, right? So the market clearly has been calling for IPAs for a while now. Like that's just what the industry is all about, because you had kind of the introduction to the IPA, and you had those initial beers like Sierra Nevada and stuff come out that really drove up the desire for it because it was new and fun. And we're still kind of in that spectrum of exploring that style of beer, and the industry demands that be kind of forward.
Well, because we're constantly just exploring or finding new strains of hops, so that's why.
Exactly.
We can keep making IPAs that are new.
There's so many new things. Until that gets exhausted, I think you're going to see that continue. But from the same perspective, eventually that's going to change, and you're probably going to have breweries churning out different types of beers, different styles. But also, correct me if I'm wrong, and sorry to cut you off, but isn't a lager a much more difficult beer to brew?
It just requires more temperature control, which breweries already have. They should have.
It's not a longer process, though.
What's really interesting, well, it can be. It can, because you want to age it to help clarify the beer. What's really interesting, though, is that at the Hill, I guess I can call it that now.
The Hill?
Actually, no, that's going to be like DC or something. No, at Manor Hill. What's really cool is that when I at Manor...
where are your manners?
What's interesting is that when I'm working, the shifts that I work, one of the highest selling beers is the Pilsner.
Oh, really?
Is that once we put that on draft, people were like, oh, this is a little bit more approachable. So I'm going to start off with that. And actually, they'll get a few of them before they start exploring new things. But there has been a lot of love for the more mild-mannered beers.
For the mild-mannered people.
With good manners.
Mild-mannered
And
beer
Manor Hill.
for mild-mannered people with good manners.
Just saying, that's like kind of genius.
You should take that back to Manor Hill. That can be your brewery slogan.
Well, we already have a beer called mild-mannered.
No, but it should be Manor Hill. Mild-mannered beers for mild-mannered people.
Just straight-edge plain beer.
It sounds like milk toast. Like
Wait, what?
Milk toast?
What is milk
That's a great phrase.
What the hell is milk toast?
It's not a real thing.
Yeah, milk toast. It's like just
white bread.
Just plain, nothing to you.
Do you eat that with milk steak?
No nuance.
Milk steak.
Yeah,
So
you can have it with milk steak. It's pretty similar.
I think you mean just like white toast.
Milk toast.
I don't think it
milk like MILQUE. It's French, I think.
Don't bring.
That's not a thing.
Okay. Milk toast is a thing. Please defend my honor.
Comment below if you've ever heard of this thing, or if it's just white toast or white bread.
Milk toast is not.
It's not like milk toast is not a thing. Like a toast with milk. That's not what I'm talking about. The phrase milk.
What are you
toast
talking about?
Is a thing. It's a milk toast is a phrase that refers to someone being
But what does
very
it
plain.
come from? How is milk toast?
Why are you asking me this? I just know that it's a word.
This is a classic Stupid Fat Hobbits segment, right?
Somebody like dips a thing of bread into a glass of milk and pulls that out and goes, man, this reminds me of a really plain-mannered person. Like, is that how that got started?
And then they put it in the toaster.
Have you ever taken a bite of soggy toast?
Yes.
It's just.
Well,
it's
not
like
soggy.
milk
Like
toast.
I'll take toast and I'll dip it sometimes in like
Once we're done
hot
this,
chocolate.
we're gonna toast some bread and then soak it in milk, and you can eat
It's
it.
not a literal.
It has
It's not
to
a literal
the
thing.
phrase has
It
to come
came
from
from
a pretty
something.
like literal thing.
Yes.
Unless he made it up, because I've never heard
I've
milk
never heard
toast
it.
true. We don't
before.
even know if it's real.
1 out of 4 people do make up things to pad their stories, and
This
there are
guy.
4 of us. I don't know.
1 out of 4 people are probably also milk toast.
So you call yourself plain?
Yeah, milk toast is. I don't know. What is a pilsner?
That came out of nowhere.
What?
It's a
show.
German style.
It's a lager though.
Yes.
Okay.
Very clear, it's got like a mild to high carbonation that's refreshing, but it's mostly like this like sweet to straw color beer that has a nice kind of fluffy pillowy head that is actually has its own glass to it to accentuate the fact that it is clear, it is bright, it is the Pilsner V glass. Have you ever seen one?
Nice little toast.
What? you doing a Gollum impression?
Where are we?
happening?
Really mixing
to
the
Stupid Fat
podcast. Yeah, we're basically mixing.
Devolving.
First collab.
What is Weinstefan classified as the oldest
wheat beer.
brewery in the world that we know?
Well, they make a bunch of different beers.
Yeah, which one are you talking about? Like the standard, like the Weinstefan beer.
standard Weinstefan.
You know this one.
It's like a wheat beer.
a wheat
So
beer.
is that its own category?
Yes.
You wouldn't say a Pilsner or a lager.
But
a
it's
wheat beer.
Well,
underneath
lager
the
is like
lager
anything
umbrella.
that's lagered or uses lager ale.
Again,
like
back
yeast.
to the general terms thing,
Yeah.
right?
It's
It
just
causes
lager
issues.
and ale.
So
Those
like
are the
Blue
two
Moon,
main-
similar type of beer, correct?
Wheat beer, yeah.
It's a Belgian style wheat beer. Yeah.
So that's a Belgian wit. Blue Moon's a Belgian wit.
So
and then
Weinstefan,
I'm about to
Belgian wit also, or just a wheat beer?
no.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I was about.
He's trying to fight it off.
Are you gluten intolerant?
No, why?
Did I upset
Oh.
you?
Because you're
Although,
talking, you're
although
talking
Blue
about wheat
Moon
beers.
is an American beer. You know.
Yeah, but the style.
The
is
style,
what I'm
yeah,
asking
yeah.
about.
But I
style
feel like
is
people
Belgian
think they're
wit.
drinking like
I had a
something really foreign.
no,
and
but
yeah,
I had
it's like-
a we had a exchange student at the University of Virginia where,
Mr.
where I went to
Jefferson's
school.
University.
No, I'm not
The
saying
intellectual
anything.
boys and
There was a
girls.
fourth year.
Anyway, this guy from, I think he was from London or the surrounding area, came in, and a lot of international people are not aware of the American craft beer scene. So they think American beer is Bud Light, Budweiser, shitty light beer. And then he came and drank a Blue Moon, which I honestly think is just kind of a shitty beer that is like advertised as just being a little bit better than the shitty beer.
Yeah.
Like
Sorry,
Bud Light or
sorry for cursing, but
It's fine.
I can bleep you out.
but he really
It happens.
you can bleep it. He really enjoyed it. He was like, "Wow, this is incredible."
I always thought that Blue Moon was like the beginner's beer to getting into craft.
Yeah, it used to be-
It's
it used to be craft beer.
That's what it. Yeah, exactly.
I like
And
Blue
we've definitely talked about this. Oh, there's a story that I don't know if I've told on this show already. One of my roommates' father grew up in Thunder Bay, and he would actually cross the
Is that-
border.
Is that a real place?
Thun-
That's like a place.
Thunder
in,
Bay?
Thunder Bay, yeah.
It's like some like SpongeBob.
It's in like Canada or something.
Okay.
It's right over the border of Michigan.
I like automatically respect and love this person because they're.
Well, he's
from
a fantastic
Thunder Bay.
guy,
Yeah.
Dion. If you're listening.
Hey, Dion.
Yeah, oh,
Say
If
hi.
you're watching,
Hi, Dion.
oh, if you're watching, right? This is a video podcast. But he would pop over in college. He would pop down into the States because Americans had the good beer, and he would get
Nice.
Bud Light and,
Was-
and Budweiser, and I
was
think
he,
Natty too.
Was he sick
I mean-
of drinking Labatt?
Labatt.
Blue?
Hey, first of all, Labatt
Labatt
It's
Blue.
Labatt.
plug for you guys. I love
Yeah,
your beer,
good old,
but they had the rule. It was like the 2-3 or something, or
Buffalo.
none of it could be higher than like 2.3% or something, or 3.2%.
Wow, that's low.
And so that's why they're like, oh, you gotta go to America. That was my.
You got to go to America
To get that
wait, that was a
to
Canadian
go for St.
accent.
Go for St. Patty's Day.
I was really off, but they were like, oh
talking
yeah, you gotta
about
go
it.
to America. I'm just gonna say it regularly.
Say it normal.
You gotta go to America to get a really good beer, really strong beer for profit, which is funny.
You know, Blue Moon, I feel like that's the one beer that's always on the restaurant's craft beer list that
Yes.
doesn't actually have craft
Yeah.
beer. You know, when they have like, a craft beer selection, there's 5 beers on there. One of them's always like Blue Moon. It's like Blue Moon.
Yeah.
Name a
backwards.
few others, Mike. Other. Like what else would be on what else would be on a really fake craft beer list? So close.
That's how you do it. Blue Moon. What's another one that I see all the time on there that's no longer?
Like a fake craft beer, like the
That may have been craft beer at one
Forerunners.
time, but
Oh,
like
that
it's
may
no
have-
longer craft beer.
Well, there's a lot of there's also the ones where your impression at this point where it's like
Stella?
I can't constantly be. That is one, but that's
Stella was
that's an
one of the-
export beer.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, no, but like when I see Fat Tire on their
Yeah,
craft beer
Fat
list,
Tire.
they are still kind of like
Mm-hmm.
craft, but at this point, nah.
Did they? What's their story?
New
Are they-
Belgium.
Are they bought? Are
I
they,
think New Belgium's bought. No, they're not bought. They're not bought.
Okay, so they might still be craft depending on.
I mean, they're still independent, which is the biggest part.
Is that okay?
But the thing is, like, they're so widely distributed.
I
There's
think it's
such
about like actually there is a revenue component to this.
ownership and
I'm
revenue.
interested.
It's like how much you. You know.
Yeah.
Hey,
me
if you're
more.
gonna drink
I
that,
can't remember exactly the qualifiers.
I'll drink this.
All right, little swippity swap. Scoop, scoop, scop.
I think you just like that seltzer more than what you're drinking.
Yeah, I think he's finally coming around.
No,
There's not an either or, and that's
about-
what you guys
And
are.
he puts it back.
I'm just.
He's going through an existential crisis right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what to do.
Ecumenical
I
crisis.
do have an important question. Can I raise my
Please
hand?
stop doing that. I have a question.
Pat, go ahead.
Yes.
Wow, favorite student lunch? Jeez.
And then Johnny, you're next.
This Belgian,
I have nothing.
people have been telling me like, oh, I'm getting really into Belgian style. Like, what does that mean? Is that just
This
from
is a
Belgium?
fun question. So that's interesting. That's what's interesting about Belgian beers is that it actually spans a very wide plethora of styles. So when people say Belgian, sometimes they mean like Belgian white, like the Blue Moons type, or
Allagash.
Yeah,
Allagash.
that's a good beer.
Yeah. That is
Oh,
a good beer.
That's from Maine. That's from Maine. If you go to Maine, it's about like a 10-hour drive from Washington, D.C.
If you're even in Washington, D.C.
While you're up there in Vermont,
Long Trail.
please. What?
Long Trail. Have you ever had Long Trail?
No.
Okay.
But while you're up there, if
Bring
you can
back
get
some
me a can of Heady Topper by Allagash, I
Yeah.
will praise you.
Yeah.
Just
Apparently
one can?
marketed
Just
as
a single can?
yeah, and we'll put it on the show. You know,
Have you ever had the?
Let's get a case.
it's been well. I don't think you can get a case of it. You can probably get a 4-pack. But Allagash's Heady Topper has been widely praised as one of the best IPAs of this era.
Really?
Yeah, exactly. So
Allegedly.
we wanna try it. What? Let's
We'll
all
let
try
you
it.
decide.
Well, yeah. But so
Belgian,
Belgians,
yeah.
but they also span to the wildly fermented and soured things. So when I go to specialty craft Belgian beer bars, most of the time I'm getting monastery beers that are sour in style. Lambics, creeks. So creek is like soured with cherries. So things like that.
Do you like sours? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
but
it's okay. I was
Do you
about
like
to say something
sours?
with those
I hate sours.
So
At least the ones I've had.
I can't. I'm gonna sneeze again. No, I'm not. Sours. Sours was a thing that took me a few tries.
Yeah, I'm still not there.
And I remember.
I've
yeah.
had like 3 or 4. I can't do them.
Yeah,
if
struggle.
if you want to do a sour that's gonna help you kind of inch towards sours, guys, go for Sour Monkey by Victory. Fantastic starter sour.
Well, actually, that is a pretty good sour.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Or
I've had that one.
If you're more local to Maryland, come visit me at the Hill. We got a nice smoothie sour, which is our Jousting Windmill series, which changes its variant basically every month.
Jousting windmills, nice.
Don Quixote. yeah.
Alternatively, you could just put a warhead in your mouth and drink a cheap lager. Save money, less pretentious.
Let's pretend.
I'm just saying.
We should do that. We should get a really good sour and then test that against like a
That's a
I don't know,
Just drinking
like
like a
a Vienna
Yingling?
lager beer.
that's a triple B
with
moment.
a warhead in your
That's a
mouth.
triple B moment. Blindfold me and then like drop a warhead into a
What's
regular
the sour?
lager.
What's the warhead infused lager?
That's amazing. We're
that's a
doing that.
great
I want to watch
challenge.
that.
Look at you coming
Yeah.
out with ideas for us.
I know. They just come right out of
Pat's kind of like the
soul.
We should have
Spoken producer.
We should have a couple though, not just the sour and that. We should have one beer with the warhead, yes, and then one with only lemon juice,
Yeah.
and then just keep going and make like 4 or 5.
like sour elements.
Yes.
And then one
Yes.
sour beer.
Yeah,
Okay.
and see if
Alright,
you can figure it out.
I'm up for the
That's
challenge.
actually a really good idea.
I'm up for the challenge. Let's do it.
All right.
So, real quick, I want to get your guys' opinion because we talked about this last week. Would you wait in line for like half a day,
Well,
a couple hours?
For what?
A couple hours
For a beer.
beer drop, can drop.
No.
Pat?
What's the context?
that's
It's
the
a brand new
context.
can drop. It's really, really like
Can drop as in like
Am
a
I-
new beer or just a new can design?
New beer.
A
It's a new
can,
beer.
yeah, it means a new beer. So-
to take a look at this one. You're literally drinking
It's
the
called
same
can
So
beer.
it'd be,
drop,
it'd be a
like
craft
can.
brewery who's introducing a new beer, and it's the first day that they have it available.
2 questions.
To purchase.
Can you drink in line?
No.
You can't drink in line. Are you
Because-
with friends?
Yes.
Like,
But when
part
you
of
get
me-
it, you can only have one. Because
Wait, dude, you are not selling.
Do you know who you're talking to?
Kidding
He just broke immediately.
You know the term moderation? That does not apply to this man.
Do you know who I
okay?
am?
What if it was? What if it was a
no,
seltzer?
you said half a day.
Oh, yeah, a couple hours.
A couple hours.
So you wait in
hours.
line. You wait in line
Couple
for like an
hours for a
hour, and then
can of
you
beer.
wait at the for a table for like in a half an hour.
I don't. That's all about hype. It's like the same thing with like video games or an iPhone. It's like just get it like a week later. Like what's the big
Well,
because
deal?
it could actually go out.
Yeah.
Like they just
It's gonna
run out of stock?
it's gonna be lines like that until it goes.
Oh, like there you might actually not be able to
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'd probably do it. I'm not huge into it, but I wouldn't mind.
as long as you're with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had.
I
an
would not
interesting-
do that.
Interesting debate about this last week.
It's
I
not
kind of
the
landed on.
concept.
I kind of landed on. I think it's actually a really good thing for craft beer that happens. Like, it creates a culture. It creates like an environment
Yeah.
of desirable beers. It kind of causes demand. To kind of take precedence. As well, though, like it is a very clear indicator to me that craft beer drinkers aren't just alcoholics. They're willing to stand in line for an hour or 2 hours to get a beer and have one and go home. It's like, cool. Like, this is not just some weird, obsession with alcohol. And I think that's an admirable trait to the industry.
What is it
Shots
about?
fired here.
Yeah, well, no.
Yeah.
What is it about like the craft beer industry that's so
Hypey.
not hypey necessarily, but appealing? Like I want to learn more about it. Like, and it's not that just I want like 12 of these and I don't really care what I'm drinking. Like people actually want to know
Sure.
what goes into it.
Well, I think that's what it is. Is that with craft beer, you're really able to know intimate knowledge about the recipe, about why the brewers decided to create this, and they want to tell you because they want you to appreciate their own art. And you, as a drinker, can enjoy higher quality stuff, as opposed to the 4-ingredient beer that you get from Bud Light. You can have something that's a little bit more fun, a little bit more adventurous.
Although I would say the craft seltzer probably has a little bit more than 4. So.
Well, let's read it. Water, cold fermented cane sugar, natural flavors,
Very unhealthy.
cane sugar.
Double cane sugar?
Well, this one's not cold fermented.
It's a double cane.
How do you ferment
seltzer.
sugar? Keep
You
going.
should know that one. Citric acid, sodium citrate, and malted rice.
Oh, you
So
know
actually,
rice.
yeah.
Sake.
I know my rice.
Just, Well, there's the Bud Light thing. I mean, yeah.
There's the rub.
It's
I think as well, it's a very simple answer because I think people,
Okay.
unfortunately, there's a two-folded answer here. The issue with a lot of people that don't currently drink craft beer, the way a lot of enthusiasts do, is there are barriers to entry, not for the breweries, for the consumers.
That's great.
yeah.
Craft beer drinkers don't want other people coming in and drinking craft beer if they have never drunk craft beer. It's like there's this weird stereotype that, again, Mike and I's show is actually trying to break that down and get rid of that because it's not conducive to growing the craft beer industry. So that needs to stop. But the reason, the very simple reason, if you actually do get into it, why I think it's easy is like anything you enjoy, whether it's good food, if it's even seltzers, right? Like people have a preference on seltzer because they get into it and they enjoy it. It's like a very natural reaction to want to know more about it. And so, like you don't need to know a ton going into it. You can kind of just get started drinking them, and you're going to realize pretty quickly what you like, what you don't like, and like it's not a very complicated process.
Do you know what I love about craft beer that has nothing to do with craft beer itself is the like pub vibe that a lot of them have concocted. Like you're immersed in that place. It's not just about the beer, it's about the space, the social
very
situation.
true.
Yeah,
Atmosphere,
and I do like
You
that
know,
about
it's the
breweries.
closest thing to, in honor of St. Patty's Day, like the Irish pub. I would say
That's
the
actually a really
American
good
craft
comparison.
brewery.
It's kind of like America's version of the Irish pub, and that's kind of a new thing still. Like these craft breweries, it hasn't been ingrained in like America's culture or history yet, but it probably will in the next, go 100 years out and you look back, we're probably going to have like
We won't
people
be drinking
coming here
beer
for
anymore.
craft beers. Well, maybe not. The seltzer game will take over. And everything.
No.
We got to keep craft beer
Manor
alive.
Hill is going to be making its new seltzer IPA.
Well,
We're not.
it's
we're not looking that dark.
So
Seltzer
we
hop.
actually, somebody told me recently that they have a friend who owns a brewery down in Richmond, or no, I think it was Asheville, and their craft brewery just came out with a seltzer.
Hell yeah.
So there are craft breweries that are realizing people want to drink that, and they're actually making.
But
them
that
now.
makes sense to me. That doesn't like
Detract.
take away. Yeah, it doesn't. Good word. Good
It actually
word.
gets you more customers.
It doesn't-
Is that
People
you
will
use
go
some
there.
gravitas?
I think there's an
gravitas.
argument to both
It's more
sides.
inclusive.
but-
I think
so-
every brewery should have a cider.
Manor Hill
also.
does have a seltzer. It is non-alcoholic. It actually has two seltzers
What's the point?
to have an option for kids.
But you said
What? Just to drink TV static?
Oh boy.
TV static.
That's what it tastes like.
Oh jeez.
What? How does the alcohol change that?
That's the flavoring.
There you go.
The flavor, the alcohol flavoring.
I'm talking like a seltzer water, like Perrier, whatever it's called.
Yeah,
Perrier.
Perrier, LaCroix.
LaCroix.
La Croix.
No, LaCroix is flavored, but the non-flavored,
LaCroix.
just sparkling
yeah.
waters,
Club soda.
tastes like TV static.
You know what I
That's-
really want to try is the plain seltzer, hard seltzers that I've heard.
Those were
Oh.
the OGs. The
Are they?
They
I've
were-
only had these flavored ones.
Yeah.
Pure.
I
Pure
heard they
is a
were not
company.
good.
Is it the
all.
PUR
Yeah,
thing?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I heard they were terrible.
Are they? I would imagine so, because it's just seltzer and then literally the taste of alcohol.
No,
No?
taste. It's just sparkling water.
Oh, then
that's alcoholic.
That sounds fine.
Yeah, it looks kind of crazy. A little dangerous. I don't know.
I guess. I don't know.
Just try for yourself. Don't listen to what other people say. Other people say that like craft breweries are snotty and everyone's just drinking their IPAs out of their very specific glass. And it's
Yes.
like, no.
Lesson for the day by Pat: be your own person.
Be your own person.
Drink your own drink.
Drink and drink.
Look, I love big revenue, but I also I love craft beer. I do. I love breweries, but I hate the associated snobbery that's with it.
And we're
That
trying to
sort of
break
like
down
Brooklyn
Yeah,
vibe.
try to break it down.
Why is what?
The Brooklyn vibe. I don't have
What is
anything
the
against Brooklyn.
vibe?
Just like the hipsterish,
You're-
like you have to do things this way.
You have phrases that I don't think actually exist in society.
That's probably a good thing because I'm
Man, that's
advancing
pretty white. That's pretty milk
society.
toast. Right there. I don't know.
Milk toast, yeah.
It's a real phrase.
You're advancing
It's not a
society with
thing.
phrases as milk toast, and that's a real Brooklyn vibe.
Okay, Brooklyn vibe is a thing. All right.
Comment below if you think any of those are real. But Chris,
Yes.
that's been a good episode. I think we
Yeah.
should just
Let's talk about the challenge for next week.
yeah. So we've been together for 11 episodes at this point. Why?
When's
It's
your
a weird way
anniversary?
to say it.
We've been together.
And I want to
The
celebrate our
podcast has been
anniversary.
live for 11 episodes.
And the thing is, we're gonna come to a close with season 1, and so we want to hear your comments, we want to hear your thoughts, we want to hear suggestions about anything that we've talked about over the past 11 episodes. Amazing! Wow!
Can you believe it's
Can
been
you
11?
believe it's been 11 episodes, guys?
11 is such a
I
stupid number.
can't believe it.
What are you guys at, like 13? Anyways,
Try 18.
so send us. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Send us your comments and suggestions. We got the email don'tstopyourleaving@gmail.com, or send us a PM on Instagram at don'tstopyourleaving, or Facebook if you're into that too. We're at Don't Stop Your Leaving on Facebook as well.
We'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.